Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my personal channel. My name is Colgables, the CEO and founder of the Colgables Industries Panoramic Entertainment Group. I wanted to do this video today because it's been a long time coming. People may be wondering, hey, Nixendoig, what do you use in terms of audio production and musical production? This video is going to be for you. Now, I am currently using the Jack Audio Connection Kit, or Jack, which is a very advanced audio server designed for pretty demanding audio work. The tool I'm using for that is called Cadence, and I currently have Jack pulled up right now as we speak. It is currently running in the background with the Pulse Audio Bridge. We've got the Advanced Linux Sound Architecture, or ALSA, which is one server, that's like the OG. Then comes Pulse Audio, which is a very well-known server, but then people started making what was originally called Pulse Video. Nowadays, it is called Pipewire. I'm not using Pipewire because I do not understand it. I don't understand fully Pulse Audio, but I understand it enough to where it's basically needed and it'll work for my tastes. Now, in terms of the actual DAW I use, that is actually a pretty easy choice, and it is Ardor. It has been mentioned on my other channel, Colgables Nation, where I have used Ardor to make a butt ton of different pieces of music. You may have seen this in the 7th episode of my podcast, Computing Comparisons, which is hosted on Colgables Nation. Now, I will go ahead and go into this song here, which I have been making recently. It is in honor of Phase Connect member Pipkin Pippa, a Rabbit VTuber personality, so I've been making this song recently called Rabbit Theory. Now, I am going to be going through exactly what I'm doing and my musical process. Even Pippa may be able to understand this. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the piano I'm using, because the one I'm currently using right now is the Kawai ES100 Concert Grand. This one is a CC0 SFZ instrument, because I'm using a bunch of these. And that's the same with the bass. I'm also using an SFZ from Virtual Playing Orchestra. And then the drums, I'm using Empty Power Kit for the drum kit, as per the usual. Very popular freeware VST. I guess it is kind of freemium because you kind of have to press this little skip thing every single time you want to pull it up, or you can pay for it and get a specified code. But there's that as well. For the lyrics, I'm actually writing the lyrics to my songs using an app called Notesnook, where I've specified, and I do compartmentalize note-taking apps as well. I'm doing that specifically through Notesnook, though for my other stuff, I use standard notes for that. Now, there are way more things that you see here, like Dragonfly Reverb. This is a very well-known set of reverberation plugins that I happen to use a lot in my music, or EQ6Q. Since I'm using something based upon GNOME, which is Cinnamon for Linux Mint, yes, I'm doing this on Linux Mint, and you don't even realize it. But yes, I am using GTK Plus plugins, specifically EQ6Q. I have taken a crack, though, at X42 and his EQ. And I've even went ahead and done some vocal processing. I'm using things like calf gates. I've got X42 Comp, which is a compressor. I've got a de-esser called dBes, which is kind of a popular one actually in the free Libre open source software community in this regard. Noise repellent basically gets rid of as much background noise as possible if tuned right. I have X42 Auto Tune. There is another one of these plugins called Auto Talent, but that is a Lotbot plugin. Auto Tune, I think, is way more advanced than even the Auto Talent plugin, I'd say. And of course, I have DPL, which is the Digital Peak Limiter. I've used this specific limiter whenever I am doing any mastering. I'll use X42 Comp for the compressor. I'll use one of the EQ10Q plugins in terms of any sort of EQ. And yes, they are parametric plugins. They're not graphic EQ, so we're good there. And I will use DPL. And by the way, for all these little patterns that I have here, I draw all of them myself, because I do this using a mouse. That's right. All of these, I drew the patterns myself. Now, there was one song where I kinda cheated when it came to the chord progressions. And that was my song On Par. I cheated using an AI chatbot for the chord progression only. Nothing else was AI generated. I was the one that did pretty much everything for the song, including mixing it and mastering it and having it posted onto YouTube, as you may have seen in this video. All of the songs at this point are licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 4.0, and you can even find them on Wavelake, which is my platform of choice for whenever I do this type of music. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually play this, but first things first, I need to change a couple of settings in Katia. I've got the vocals muted because the lyrics, they are quite hilarious, and I'm still working on that, but for the time being, I can at least give you the accompaniment for a little bit. I will leave that be for now. I will go ahead, save that, and get out of Ardor. Now that is one way I do music production, but there are many, many, many other plugins that I have accumulated over the time that I had been producing music. For example, in one of the albums that I'm currently working on, it's almost done. I just need to really get the video made and each separate song, plus get that posted onto Wavelake, which is a Bitcoin-based SoundCloud alternative, by the way, for those that don't know. And yeah, the plugins I've accumulated are things like the Ace plugins that come with Ardor, like the Ace Fluid Synth plugin. I've been using that a bit, especially when it comes to Toho style pieces, which my first album is going to be Toho style. Yep, I've basically been doing a lot of things in Toho style with an extra song that I'm going to be placing over on Wavelake, so yeah, you may want to follow my Wavelake. It's going to be linked below as always. Anyway, in terms of whatever I have to do in terms of audio, like actual audio recording, I don't use Ardor for that unless it's for specific songs, like what I'm doing with Rabbit Theory right now. Instead, for voiceover projects, I am using Audacity to do that. And by the same token, while using Audacity, I use some of the built-in plugins, but I have also added a couple of plugins myself, as you can see here. But that's pretty much it on that front. And this is all while using Pulse Audio to do Computing Comparisons episode readovers. But I believe that's all I'm going to be doing for music this time around. Thank you, and good night.